We're going to get going. Like, if everybody can take your seats, please.
Can just do
Oops, our attorney. Wait another minute. Yeah, 1 minute. Not just.
Nope. Yes, and Mike doesn't understand. We can just.
All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to this evening's Amherst Town Board meeting of Monday, May 12th, 2025. We're going to begin the evening with a Pledge of Allegiance, if you'd please rise. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I would ask our town clerk to please call the roll.
Supervisor Copa,
Here.
Deputy Supervisor Lavin,
Present.
Councilmember Berger,
Here.
Councilmember Zucala,
Here.
and Councilmember Marinucci.
Before we get into it, I do want to just thank the members of the Indian and Pakistani communities. I had an opportunity to meet with a joint group of leadership earlier in the day to talk about issues specific to the conflict and the current ceasefire conditions in Kashmir. Our hearts go out to those members of the Amherst community from that region and who have family there. We hope for a continuation of the ceasefire that's currently in place, and collectively we hope for the best for the many members of those communities that live within the town, their relatives, and their relations in India and Pakistan. The next item on the agenda is minutes. It's approval of minutes from Monday, April 28th, 2025. A motion to adopt those as they appeared.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next item we have is a proclamation and acknowledgement by Deputy Supervisor Lavin.
Thank you, Supervisor. So as 2024 came to a close, we had about 19 retirees. And with those 19 retirees, the total amount of years they served our community in the town of Amherst was over 500 collectively, 500 years collectively. So we provide a proclamation to all of them, but I want to make sure that they get recognized on the record for their years of contributions to this town. So Richard Meldron at 30 years, Elizabeth Allen at 14, Blake Strom, 35 years, Frank Longo, 27, Joshua Walgreen, 23, John Atkins, 24, Daniel DePasquale, 38, James Sullivan, 30 years, Jeffrey Lavacat, 27 years, William Moore, 29 years, Richard Montalban, 32 and a half, Kevin Tremblett, 30, Michael Meldron, 20, Peter McDonald, 33, Tamsa Makaban, 37, Jeffrey Klein, 43 years, Andrew Edwards, 20, and Jody Kawarta, 15. So I want to make sure that they get recognized and thanked for their years of service to this town, many decades. Thank you, Supervisor.
Okay, thank you. The next item on our agenda this evening with no public hearing is the first round of public expression. I'm going to motion to open that at this time.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
First on the sheet is Jerry DeCosmo.
For some pictures.
Jerry, can you move the?
There we go. Thank you. Good evening, town board members. My name is Jerry DeCosmo and I live on Meyer Road. I hope that everyone tuning in at home is able to see these photos. I've been at this podium many times in reference to the Ridgely North Bailey Benderson project. I am here again tonight as a concerned neighbor. I'm sure we could all agree that a core universal human need is a sanctuary of home. It is our refuge from the outside world, a space for healing and rest. It is the foundation of our physical and mental well-being. I want to introduce you to my neighbor's home, 290 Meyer Road. where he has happily lived, worked, and paid taxes for over 50 years. In this overhead view, I invite you to take notice to the wealth of trees that used to surround his property, the great green space. Slide 2, please. This is a street view that could be from last summer. Again, trees with an abundance of grass, privacy, and peace. Number 3, please. You notice the brick house on the right? That was purchased by the developer for $500,000 back in late 2022. The woman that owned the property was a little old 90-year-old lady, and the developer saw this as a pivotal acquisition that allowed for a road that I will add that the residents lobbied strongly against. Can I have the next slide, please? This is, okay. Can you go to the street one? Thank you, sir. This current street level view shows the new private road that has been cut through. It extends from North Bailey, intersecting with Beaumont Parkway, accessing Meyer Road. This road is approximately 5 feet from my neighbor's side fence. Please notice that all the surrounding trees have been eliminated. Go to the next one, please. I included, I think there's one more, that one, yes. I included this overhead view again to simply remind you of what the landscape looked like before the development, a green area that did not qualify as green space in the eyes of the town. Can we go to the next one, please? It should be the one, that one, thank you. This is immediately behind his property. His rear fence line is at the top of the slope, descending into the retention pond, a stormwater overflow, not a natural environmental ecosystem, but a stagnant body of water. And the last slide, please, that one. The final slide of the home the homeowner took from an upstairs rear window, showing you the scope of the retention pond. It is quite massive. In addition, the developer also owns the vacant property on the other side of my neighbor's home, as well as the house next to that, which was purchased by the developer in 2021 for $625,000. The plans for these properties are unknown to us. My neighbor's property has been relegated to island status, and not in a good way, because of the inconsiderate disregard of Supervisor Culpa and Deputy Supervisor Lavin and the developer, a developer who claimed that they wanted to be a good neighbor. Keep in mind, if they can arbitrarily do this to one, they can do it to anyone. Thank you for your attention.
Gordon Kemp, sorry.
Good evening. My name is Gordon Kemp, and I live at. I'm sorry. My name is Gordon Kemp, and I live at the intersection of Meyer Road and Beaumont Parkway, Ground Zero. The town has been great. The zoning people, they always get a message out if there's any kind of change going on, even if it doesn't concern me. I always get a notice from the zoning guys. They're great. However, yeah, okay. All right, I'm sorry, I'm not good with this. However, a while back, a little pink stick went in at the intersection of Meyer and Beaumont, and 3 days later, a bulldozer ripped a 40-foot wide road right down my property line. I got no notice about that from the developer nor from the town, but the town was right there to double my assessment and increase my taxes by 11.4%, and I feel a little hard done by here. Now, I have the property on the left of me and the property on the right of me are scheduled to be demolished from what I've been able to gather. There's no idea what's going to happen, but it seems like this Beaumont project has no timeline. I have yet to be able to assess or address any damage done to my property because they're not done with the bulldozers yet. But uh, uh, the uh, the outlook is not real promising, and I anticipated a retention pond of some sort, and I didn't get a retention pond. I got a retention lake. It is huge. I haven't even been able to measure how big it is. Now, if they'd stock it, I'd buy a boat, but um, there's no containment there whatsoever to stop kids from getting in there and drowning. And as I said, with no timeline for completion, there are no elevation drawings, no artist's conceptions of anything on the Meyer Road end of things. I'm sure that the developer's corporate headquarters will be Taj Mahal. I can think of 26 million reasons why, but um, I'm a prisoner. I can't make repairs. It's going to cost me tens of thousands of dollars to stay and tens of thousands of dollars to go. But I have no clue as to what the timeline is. And Station 12 has been rotting up there for years. Am I going to have this 40-foot mud ditch next to my house for 2 years? What am I supposed to do in order to move forward? You got me. I'm afraid that, well, I guess that's all the starch I have for tonight. But as I said, I think the town has been very, very poor, very, very poor stewards of the land, and very, very reckless with the public purse. And I guess I wish you good night, and thank you for your time. Go.
Tom Frank.
You can bask in the glow of those LED lights. Neat.
Good evening, town board members. Got it? Okay. My name is Thomas Frank, and I reside at 5403 Main Street in the village of Williamsville in the town of Amherst. And I want to thank you for giving me 3 town board minutes to present my intermunicipal Glen Park Joint Board lead agency proposal for the 2050 intermunicipal cooperation agreement for a 5-year 2025 through 2029, a $10 million capitalization at $2 million per year. And in 2005, the Village of Williamsville community plan included the interconnection of the Glen Park to the Amherst State Park, but the implementation was pragmatically ignored and by the village and the town. Charlie Speck was the fellow that I worked with. They fired him. The 2025 through 50 updated Williamsville the community master plan is going to be at the Williamsville South High School at 6:30 p.m. Tomorrow. And let's see, they only allocated $160,000 to upgrade the plan. Now, hopefully, it's going to be implemented as far as that which is in there. For the Ellicott Creek is the town of Amherst Greenway, Central Park Trailway. And they just had a couple of Greenway Summit meetings. The New York State Department of Trails and Parks, Trails, and Historic Preservation, they had their Greenway Summit meeting. That as far as the interconnection, there's an opportunity here as far as the New York State Regional, the Economic Development Council, and that there's 2 basic connections. One is to the relicensing of the Niagara Power Project, where they allocated $450 million, and there's $9 million a year that goes for projects. And the other one has to do with the connection of where you're sitting, as far as the Onondaga Escarpment and the quarries where they manufactured the concrete for the Erie Canal National Heritage Corridor. And that you have, as far as, great, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Tom. Okay. Mary Dormer.
Good evening. Supervisor Culpa, Deputy Supervisor Lavin, and Amherst board members. My name is Mary Dormer, and I reside in Gettsville. I'm going to circle back to see if you have any answers from the presentation that was made originally on March 10th, 2025. At the April 7th, 2025 meeting, only one of our 4 of our questions was answered, so I'd like to see if a response is available to the unanswered questions at this time. Once more, Deputy Supervisor Lavin, please feel free to respond, also because this is part of the project that you did vote for. So here are our questions again. Supervisor Culpa, you gave a reason as to why the Boys and Girls Club was removed from the 4110 North Valley facility because of non-payment of utility bills and monthly rental. I've reviewed the lease for the Boys and Girls Club, and I cannot find anywhere in the agreement that the Boys and Girls Club was responsible for those utility bills. However, we would like to see documentation as an amendment to the lease that your statement on the utility bills was in fact correct. We are aware that the Boys and Girls Club did pay the utilities from 2015 to 2017, even though it wasn't in their lease agreement. The current process is that the town has been paying them from 2018 to the present. At this point in time, this does not appear to be a valid reason for the Boys and the Girls Club being removed from the premises. Number 2, I'm just curious, are you aware that the O'Connell and Company have not paid the $1 a year lease since signing this agreement? Also, with regard to O'Connell and Company, their lease indicates that they are responsible for grass cutting, which is currently being done by the town. O'Connell and Company, in accordance to their lease, have still not provided a neighborhood arts program and/or a speaker series. Does this mean they are in violation of their lease? And will the lease be terminated? Number 3, we asked what happened between the agenda published on February 1st, 2024, and when the meeting took place on February 5th, 2024, regarding the rezoning of the 1350 Eggert Road project. So it would be really great to get a response to that question, please. Number 4, we also asked what transpired between February 5th, 2024 to December 16th, 2024, for the town and the developer to change the plans from townhouses to a youth center. We would also appreciate a response to this question. Finally, why are the building plans for the youth center dated February 2022 before the decision was made to not build the townhouses and while you were looking for alternative sites? Supervisor Culpa, when can we expect an answer to these questions? Deputy Supervisor Lavin, maybe you can offer some feedback as well. Thank you.
Andrea Morganti.
Good evening, Supervisor Culpa, Deputy Supervisor Lavin, and Town Board members. My name is Andrea Morganti, and I reside in Gettsville. I wanted to let you know that I have requested that the Historic Preservation Commission grant historical status to the Westwood Country Club clubhouse. We wanted to ensure that no matter what is the outcome for the Westwood property, that it will remain green space for the future generations. In addition, consideration should be given that it would free up historic preservation tax credits. It could be used to restore the clubhouse. Now, I'm not sure, but I just wanted to throw this out there, that we believe that the brownfield tax credits might also be available as well to restore the clubhouse. This clubhouse has personal sentiment for our family, as we have held 2 memorial services at that clubhouse. One was for my daughter, and one was for my mother. We would like you, as members of the town board, to join us in this endeavor to protect this property. Thank you.
Mike Murtis.
Good evening, Supervisor Culpa, Deputy Supervisor Lavin, and the esteemed members of the town board. Before I begin, please allow me a moment to adjust my distance from the microphone. I want to ensure I can be clearly heard, not just on the YouTube live stream, but through the assisted hearing devices in the room. My wife, who relies on the system, has struggled to follow these proceedings due to the ongoing unresolved audio issues in this chamber. Okay, I got the go. Okay, I first raised concerns about this in October 2024. Since then, we received excuses, partial fixes, and still no real solution. The board replaced the amplifier and added an emergency mic backup, yet the audio quality here remains substandard for those physically present in the room. This is not just a technical issue, it's an accessibility issue. On May 5th, at the Disability Committee meeting chaired by Erica Rodman, with Councilman Marinucci acting as board liaison, the committee refused to even discuss the sound system. Why? Because they had spent too much time on it in April. They then voted unanimously to table the issue for at least another year. From now on, we're told that the only way that we can be heard is on a formal complaint through the ADA coordinators, will even be considered, and only after review by the IT and the HR department. Let me be clear, this is not how you serve people with disabilities. This is not how democracy listens to its residents. In the last town board meeting on April 28th, Gene Cox informed you that there's a $65,000 grant available to improve the live audio transmission in this very room. Yet no one responded. No action has been taken. How can we have confidence in a board that claims to represent the people, yet won't take simple funded steps to ensure all of us are heard and can hear? This isn't about politics. It's about basic respect. In conclusion, or inclusion and transparency. Thank you.
Seeing none, I'm going to motion to close public expression.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Next item on the agenda is the consent.
Can do it in the next round.
You have another round coming up. I've already moved on to consent agenda. I asked twice if there was anybody else. Again, that's why I asked once, paused, waited, asked twice.
Okay, just move
Consent
on.
agenda. I would ask our town clerk to please read our consent agenda.
Supervisor Copa, 1. Town Attorney, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. Town Clerk, 1, 2. Central Alarm, 1. Controller, 1, 2, 3. Contract Compliance, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Economic Development, 1. Engineering, 1, 2, 3, 4. Human Resources, 1, 2. Police, 1. Sewer Plant, 16, 1, 2, 3. Youth and Rec, 1, 2. Communications, 1 through 5 were all referred to attorneys, and a public improvement permits, 1 was consent. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to motion to adopt the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 463 is the lighting district extension, 4300 Millersport Highway site plan. It's the final order. I'm going to motion to adopt the lighting district extension at this time.
Second.
Would I ask our town clerk for a voice vote, please?
Supervisor Copa.
Yes.
Deputy Supervisor Lavin. Councilmember Berger.
Yes.
Councilmember Zucala
Yes.
and Councilmember Marinucci.
Yes.
We have a second resolution set that is a tandem resolution. The first is Resolution 471, which is a land swap agreement in Mississippi ADP LLC BLD BLVD CON LLC and the town of Amherst CRS number 5530. I'm going to motion to adopt that at this time.
Second.
On the question, all in favor? Wait, sorry, I need a voice vote. I would ask the town clerk for a voice vote, please.
Supervisor Colpa.
Yes.
Deputy Supervisor Lavin. Councilmember Berger.
Yes.
Councilmember Zucala.
Yes.
And Councilmember Marinucci.
Yes.
Resolution 470 is the acceptance of a warranty deed and lien covenant, CRS 5531, and quit claim deed, CRS 5532. I'm going to motion the adoption of those this time.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is the second round of public expression. I'm going to motion to open that now.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
John Traver, 234 Mount Vernon Road. Just a short question. This is a follow-up question related to Resolution 2024-996, acquisition of 218 and 330 Maple Road. Town paid $5.725 million on a short-term loan for the entire property, with an understanding that UBMD would purchase a portion of this property back from the town. The UBMD transaction was to be completed the first quarter of 2025. And on 4/7 of 25, the supervisor stated the deal was very close as the attorneys are trading comments. Can you tell us, can anybody on the board tell us what the status of that is? And if it's not completed, what's that costing us every day that it's not completed? Thank you.
Okay.
Jane Cox, Harlem Road. It's been a long time since the town employees were recognized for their service. So I want to thank Sean for mentioning the 19 employees' names who worked here for 500 years and encourage you to recognize all the employees when they retire. This used to be done in the past, and I don't know why it hasn't been done lately. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Excuse me, Matt Plunk at North Hill Drive. Excuse me, at the end of the last meeting, we had a discussion about the relationship between the Buffalo and Erie County Public Library and the county government, and I ran out of time. I didn't have time to bring forward all the issues I wanted to bring forward, so I'll bring them forward tonight. In addition to all the elements I pointed to last time that pretty clearly established the fact that the Buffalo and Erie County Public Library is a component of Erie County government, there's also the county charter. Section 101 of the charter says, "This charter and all amendments hereto shall constitute the form of government for the county of Erie and shall be known as the Erie County Charter." Then further along in the charter, in Section 2204, it talks about other boards, how appointed, and I'll only read it in part because it applies to other agencies as well. The Board of Trustees of the Buffalo and Erie County Public Library shall continue as provided by law, except that the power of appointment residing in the county legislature or in the chairman thereof is transferred to and shall be exercised on or after January 21st, 1961 by the county executive. And I know that 1961, I think, was the year in which Erie County became a charter county. So the library is recognized in the county charter as part of the government of Erie County. Article 23 of the charter talks about Section 2304, support of public libraries. And this is the part that Councilmember Mary Nucci talked about at the last meeting, why the information appears on your tax bill. A portion of the annual real property tax, the county real property tax, shall be annually levied and collected for the library, or collected for library purposes, excuse me, and shall be separately set out on the real property tax notice as the amount for library purposes. The entire amount of funds allocated in the general budget for the library shall be available to the Buffalo and Erie County Public Library and shall not be subject to withholding, modification, or reduction by the county after the adoption of the annual budget. There's one exception in there that's limited, that if the library board wants to make a transfer that would have the effect of leading to closure of one of the libraries, it would have to have the consent of the county legislature to do that. Now, this past year on our county tax bill, the Erie County library tax amounted to something on the order of $30.9 million. The total budget for the libraries on the operating budget is on the order of $34.6 million, which means 89% of the county budget comes from county taxpayers through the Erie County government. And the adage is as true today as it's always been: he who pays the fiddler calls the tune.
Okay, anybody else?
Spike Murders, Troy Del Way. Earlier tonight, I spoke how this board has failed to listen. Now I want to talk about how it has failed to act responsibly with our money and our trust. You pass massive expenditures with little input and even less transparency. We talk about the $31 million to purchase the street lighting, $7.18 million for Royal Park, only to lease it to Damon University for $1 per year. Effective handling they control. Okay, $7.8 million to acquire the Westwood Country Club, only to gift it to the Erie County, which is no clear benefit to Amherst residents other than being able to possibly play. You're laughing at me, huh, Brian? You really are. Okay. Really shows me what's going on. You really respect me, yet I'm supposed to respect you. I support parks, I support recreation, but I do not support the backroom deals that transfer public assets without community input. Where's the transparency in the $3.36 million 10-year, $28,000 per month lease agreement with Ellicott Development for the youth center building that doesn't even exist yet? You're replacing a town-owned facility leased out for $1 per year to private company with costly speculative plan. Who benefits from this arrangement? And let's talk about tax breaks and abatements. $1 million for Paul Bless's luxury apartment project, $517,000 in sales tax relief on top of that to him, $1 million for the Young Development Complex, $1.4 million for Benderson's Delta Sonic headquarter relocation. That's millions that's lost tax revenue while our roads crumbled and our water infrastructure fails. Who pays the price? Not the developer. We do. The residents, the taxpayers, the people sitting in this room. You've racked up over $200 million in town debt with no public referendum, no open dialogue, and no concerns for the burden you're leaving future generations. And yet you still claim to govern in the people's interest. Supervisor Culpa, in your May 8th article in the Bee, you encourage readers to report scams and fleecing. Well, I'm reporting this board, the entire board, for fleecing the people who elected you. Not a court of law, but in a court of public opinion. Let me end with a reminder. As we approach Memorial Day, all gave some, and some gave all. And this is, Mr. Lavin understands this. We owe it to those who sacrificed for our freedom to protect our democracy, not erode it behind closed doors. Thank you.
Good afternoon, or evening, Town Board. It's Karen Howard, 194 Roycroft Boulevard in Snyder. I'm thinking back to the last meeting when there was a lot of discussion and questions raised by several residents regarding the Westwood property and the proposed 9-hole golf course and park on that property, and the collaboration with the county. And when questions were raised, I think there is a commenter at some point that nothing was final yet. It's like, okay, so these were just proposed ideas. So my question at this point is, have you taken into consideration any of the issues and concerns raised by the residents, particularly the financial implications of the discussed plan? I won't call it proposed plan because he said it was an idea. So of the discussed plan, and particularly potential competition of the new county 9-hole golf course, competition with the existing town 18-hole golf course, and kind of the concepts around that. So have you rethought the plan? What's the status of that situation, that discussed collaboration? And when can work begin? We own this property. We want a park. We want something done with this as opposed to just being a parking lot for new cars. Thank you.
Good evening. Paul Frankoville, Cimarron Drive. I'd like to know an update on the water main project for Cimarron Drive. The guys were out there about 6-8 weeks ago. They were surveyed and they spray painted markers on some people's lawns. Just looking for an update. That's it. Okay.
Thanks. Anybody else? Seeing none, I'm going to motion to close public expression.
Second.
All in favor? Out of that, there were a couple of questions that I'll answer. Mr. Trabert's question regarding ACC, we have, I think at this point, hopefully traded final drafts. If we don't hit an agreement, then the land be RFP'd. We don't incur any cost unless we carry it at the end of the year. So there's no cost incurred to the town at the moment. As far as the country club, the former Westwood project, we're still talking to the county. We're listening to a lot of ideas, not just the ones that come here. There's a lot of ideas about it, as there have been a lot of ideas from the community throughout the process of dealing with that property. And, we take them all into account. This board's been pretty steadfast in our commitment to making sure that the building is preserved. So I would think that'd be something that both the Historic Preservation Commission and this board would be receptive to. Regarding the youth center, regarding Cimarron Drive, I really don't know. We don't, I'd have to ask engineering, but if you send us an email, we can get a response. And then the last thing I'll say is regarding the youth center, because I have had the same question multiple times, I do feel I've answered it, and I believe I've answered it in a column in the B as well. I'm not bashful about saying that we needed a youth center. The building that we were hoping to acquire fell through and ended up being sold by People's Incorporated directly to Sacred Heart. So at that point, we pivoted, and I approached the developers about the position. They were looking at a rezoning on the property, and I suggested that we think about building a youth center there. I've never been bashful about that. I think it's a great project. That means that we're going to be repositioning the current Bailey Road building as a senior center, and an emergency shelter. I've also said that out loud. So there'll be more information coming out over time. As we usually do, this town board relays all that information, not just at these meetings, but through the press, and frequently through the press. That's what transparency is, explaining to the public the content and the information as it happens. You can disagree, but there's no metamorphosis. We present what we're doing through the press, and we tell the story about what we're doing. So thank you all. Have a good night.
We have to
Sorry,
officially
I have a motion
adjourn.
to adjourn the board meeting.
Second.
All in favor?